Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Panachit. I'm CEO co-founder of ZTRUS. ZTRUS, we are like digital AI. What we did is we automate AR and AP automation flow in accounting flow, and then we use AI, and we have our R&D for PhD in our lab to create these technologies. And then today we're going to talk about those kind of research to commercialization. But today we have three professors. I'm not professors. Luckily, we have three professors who has passionate enough to come and do some commercialized technology from their research to the market. Today we have let's introduce yourself. Okay, start from there. And then Bip.
Hi, good afternoon. So my name is Suthira. I'm CEO and co-founder of a company called Baiya Farm. So what Baiya Farm is doing is we make what we call recombinant proteins. Okay, to make it's easier for you guys to understand. Recombinant proteins are like we use it for like medicines, new medicines and vaccines. Some vaccines are made from recombinant proteins. But instead of using a conventional platform, we use plant to produce those proteins. And our company is first founded like 4 years ago in spin-off from the university here in Bangkok called Chulalongkorn University. And that's what we do. So maybe just a quick introduction about us first, but then we can talk about something else.
Okay, so you create protein from plant.
Yes.
Right, but it's not plant-based protein that we eat, but
No.
it's a protein for medical level.
Yes.
For example, doing vaccine or some drugs to fight against cancer or whatsoever, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is probably what she did. Okay, next, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jittima, Amie, Luckanagul. You can call me Amie if that's easier. And I am a CTO of Nabsolute company. It is also a spin-off company from Chulalongkorn University. So I am a pharmacist by training, but I did my PhD in chemistry and biochemistry. So my specialization would be towards the biomaterials, biopolymer modifications in terms of the drug delivery and also gene delivery system, also adjuvant, vaccine adjuvant for mRNA adjuvant or protein adjuvant. So my work is pretty much, working together with Baiya and other company that create the molecules for therapeutics. So basically, I'm doing biomaterials for health and also the health-related products like cosmetics and medical devices.
So roughly you do like biomaterials to do drug deliveries for many purposes, cosmetic or whatsoever for
Right.
medical. Okay,
Thank you.
next please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anongnat, Somwangthanaroj. You can call me Annie. And I'm from Faculty of Engineering, Chulalongkorn University. I'm the professor at the Department of Chemical Engineering, and also I serve as Associate Dean in Research Affairs at the Faculty of Engineering. My specialist is in polymer engineering, and I spin the first company around 4 or 5 years ago. I tried to extend the shelf life of the fresh produce, the vegetable and fruit by making the plastic bags that is biodegradable plastic bags. And then during the COVID-19, the first wave of pandemic, because I serve as an associate dean in research affairs, so I work closely with the Thai Red Cross Society. And then so that time, I know the problem with the lack of the PPE, the personal protective equipment, especially the gown and also the mask. And so my friend and we come up to work together to develop the half-face respirator that is like every piece can made in Thailand. So we want to make sure that we have health security for medical workers. So during the pandemic, we gave it to the hospital around 18,000 masks to the hospital. It's the reusable one, so just change only the filter pack. So it's like it's cheap, it's reusable, and it's safe for the doctor and the nurse. So this is what I'm doing. So I'm the head of the corporate affair. I use my expertise as polymers engineering to come up with the project with my friends.
So you have, each of you have different expert, right? One is to the polymers for those kind of filters or manage the oxygens or whatsoever. One for the drug deliveries, and one is the protein for the medical grades or drugs. Okay, we are look like both three of you is working on health. We could consider health tech, and we just beginning. Yep, and still raising fund. Okay, whoever are interested, you can come and talk to them. We are raising fund for them as well from Chulalongkorn University. But when we talk about health tech in Thailand, most of the time we think about the digital or the data. Can you help me talk? Do you use digital, or what do you think about the digital and non-digital in health tech situation in Thailand?
Maybe I can answer those questions. So what we do at Baiya is we grow a lot of plants. We grow a lot of plants. So basically that is agricultural tech by itself. So we do vertical farming. We grow plants to make recombinant protein using that plants. First, when we started, my co-founder, who is the CTO, she has been working on this technology for like 20 years, since her PhD. So basically it's her tech. But, in her lab, she grows each plant, using soil. So it's just like small plants, When we want to scale, the problem of scaling up is how can we scale? And that's how we use vertical farming, optimization of all the lights, the winds, and carbon dioxide and everything. We use that to as a first scaling up process. But also now when we're making, more vaccines, we're making COVID-19 vaccine as one of the first few products in our company. When we make those, in big, the batch size getting much bigger, then during that time, we started to get more data, and we trying to optimize using those data, because all the information that we got, eventually will be used to get the fight. Like it's gonna define how cheap your vaccine is eventually. So what we do is we use digital tools, like we start using all the IoT data analysis, AI and everything through the process for us, to make the production more efficient when we're scaling from lab to industrial scale.
So somehow your target is to do those kind of vaccines or whatsoever, but still you will need some digital tools to manage and do whatsoever in your lab to make yourself scale and make it faster.
That's a first thing. But currently, like our partners that we're working with now, especially there are a lot of companies like in the US, in Singapore, in Europe. What they do is, in the old days, when you want to come up with new molecules, new drugs, you kind of need to design it, right? But with more data that are coming out, from publications and everything, people start to compile those data together, and then now we can design those products better. And that's where we collaborate with maybe other companies.
Okay.
As
So
well.
you still can use those digital tools to do some drug discovery or whatsoever.
Definitely.
Okay. How about you, Jan Am?
Yeah, for me, actually, digital tech has been involved in my research since the beginning, and now it's still in Nabsolute. Also, we use here and there, since the design of the polymer, and we do simulation on, to make the target more precise when we design, like whether or not we want it to self-assemble in this, shape or morphology, things like that. So we need that tools to, be able to predict on how the molecule will behave under some circumstance. For example, under high salt concentration solution or versus when we have just pure water, things like that. So it's the prediction tools. That's just one of the example, and another example is that in the process, we use the digital tech or digital tool actually to control or actually to minimize the errors. So we do in-process control with digital, and also with in many steps it involves digital. However, we are now taking into the next step. This is our in the process of R&D though. We are trying to develop new digital tools to step forward, for the stability of the medical products using drug delivery system like us. So that's our plan. Yeah. So it's involved since the beginning to the end of the process.
To save up your cost and reduce risk and speed up your process, you can use digital to help you simulate and do whatsoever that can save your time, right?
Right, save time and be more, maybe reduce reduce risk of
Taking
safety
chance.
and loss as well.
Okay, how about
For us, for the Kio enterprise, we use maybe not the digital tech like that, but it's like we use the modeling. So we need the computer simulation to model the how the concentration of the carbon dioxide in the mass and everything. We have to do modeling before we really make the mold to produce it, because if not, it's like the mold is like cost several hundred thousand baht. So usually we use the modeling first. Yes, but for the digital tech, like at the July Engineering, we have developed many digital tech, like to screen the GI on many things.
Okay. So summarize for three of you, although many Thai startup in HealthTech, they do digital, but from my notice, most of them they do like their health data, workflow or whatsoever. But I think for digital health tech, there are still some rooms for medical levels, medical grade or lab grades that you need or you can help to do drug discovery, new polymer structure discovery or new material discovery or whatsoever. I think there are still some chances that we can come and align the goal. But today, as we have three of them who are not digital, so we're not talking about the digital in detail or about AI. But I would like to talk about the challenge, because I know that your lab is polymer lab, your lab is biopolymer, right? And your lab is the plant grow the proteins. And what is the challenge of you to bring the things that you know from your lab to the customer or to the market? What do you think that's the challenge? Who wants to come first? I know you have something in your minds that you want to say.
I can go first then. Since we have a product already commercialized, but we are big B2B scheme. So even though we are talking to not a finished product customer or the consumer themselves, it's still a little bit hard to explain or try to transfer the idea of what we have, towards the business unit that becomes our customer. So the communication is a challenge for me. So we are trying to use, we are still learning, but we found that for now, currently, I think with like the infographic or actually the graphic in like the video form can help us better. So that's also digital, right? So we need some designer and we need some people that try to help us to translate what we have in mind and how our design can be simplified and actually merge with the customer need, not just to make a pure science or fancy science, things like that.
So as I do the B2B as well, we also have one word that if you want to sell the B2B products, we have to speak their language. You cannot speak our language because they cannot communicate with our language, especially from our lab language. Like if you talk to my CTO, you cannot understand what he's saying. Okay. So it's a
Yeah,
what
same
you-
here. So I'm not the one who talk to customer because they will just, let me go in like 5 minutes because they don't understand a word I say. So yeah, we need that, communication bridger.
Okay, who's next?
So maybe from my experience, I think my situation is a little bit, not usual one because as I told you that it start from the first wave of the COVID pandemic. That we know that we don't have enough masks for the medical workers. So my friends and I just try to come up with the products for them. It's like we fortunately I can reconnect with my kindergarten friends that I just know that okay, she has the factory to produce to inject the products, and I know several researchers at Chulalongkorn University who have several specialists. So we come up to work together, and so the way that we can get the doctor to accept these products, that we work with the doctors at the first time that when we start design the product, we work with them. So we want to know their needs, and then we try to come up with we just redesign it again and again until we can make sure that they want to use it. Yeah.
Okay, I love that part. You have to redesign again and again and again. I think the way to, and I know that professors, you may have your own expertise in your own area, but to mix them together and especially to bring it into the real industry, in fact, real factory, and make it for customer to accept. Can you tell me more about those challenges? How difficult it to mix them or balance them to create something to the factory that, hey, please set this up for me, and then how difficult to make it out and make customer accept.
Okay, I think for the challenge in terms of the production team, the research team, is not a lot because it's not the usual situation. Everyone want to help medical workers. That time is like when they ask anything, I say that every hour does matter because it's the if we make it quicker for one day, the doctor will save more person will be safe. So they work and we can really work together.
Okay.
And I know that in the normal situation I cannot get that.
Okay, so I get this point. First point you said you have to communicate, speak customer language. But your point is quite right because do we as a research or person developers, do we share the same goal? I mean, sometimes the difficulty is that the researcher cannot work together because you don't have the same goal. We don't share the same vision that we want to go to. That's why we also have our own agenda and bring to just try to show our agenda rather than others. But once we have the same goal, I think this is quite different between startup and do research in the university. Because startup, you need the same goal as well that you need to achieve. Right, I think that part. Anything else?
Anything else? For when talking to the user, I cannot say it's a customer because that time is like our business model is a little bit different than usual because we say that we anyone can buy this, but we want but they don't get the product. We will send all of the product to the hospital.
Alright.
So you want to pay, sure. Some companies say that can they buy 100 masks and then they get 20 and then take you to hospital. We said no, 100 have to go to hospital, and they are okay.
Alright.
So I think the same goal during that time that we want to save the doctor and nurse is the most important thing.
But the good thing that the doctor tell you the straightforward that it doesn't work, come to redesign again and again. And again.
Yes.
I think that part is good because sometimes I graduate PhD, and once you graduate PhD, you have the very, very huge ego. And then you have a very huge ego and you talk to your customer, especially your first prototype, they'll say that, oh, it's shit, it sucks, I don't use it. They always, and the first time you fail, but once you get used to, you can, I mean, from your knowledge, your expertise, you can polish them. And once they make happy, you feel, that's it, I want you. That's a good, I think that's a good thing that you show. But that means when you want to do the research to commercial, you need to have a good customer, right? Who can give you the straightforward and real feedback. Not say that, oh, it's good, but I don't pay. That would not help. Right. How about Jan, you?
I think from my point, I come from another angle. So because we're making vaccines in our company, right? Like I cannot go say, oh, try it, and then like response to me how you feel about it. Is it hurt? And we're gonna change it. We cannot do that, right? There's a protocol to do that. But it's still the same process because you're doing phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Normally people look at pharma, life science. They look at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. But it's not like a straight line going from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because and that's what's the challenge for me, because if you in the ecosystem like in Thailand where or even in Asia where life science ecosystem are not so mature, people really don't understand that you have to go through phase 1. If you look at Moderna like history or Pfizer history, Moderna before COVID-19, they have been going back and forth in their phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 for like 10 years, right? Before they get this one hit. And that was like, a testing process for them, right? Which is a different angle than, because this is vaccines, like you cannot do that. So my point here is that we're doing this. It's very straightforward because in other ecosystem, not in Asia or not in Thailand, people are doing it as well. They're testing it. They're going back and forth. It's very hard to communicate this challenge, especially to investors in this ecosystem, because they really don't understand. Okay, first of all, they don't really know how to get the drugs to commercialize stage as well, right? And the process are different than medical devices or consumer products that you can get commercializations. The process for pharma or life science that we do phase 1, phase 2, we license those products out because the whole process of selling the products, commercialize the products, are not in the hands of biotech life science startups. So the way that we do things are different. And I think it's like you need to kind of educate the whole ecosystem to understand that, to be successful in terms of when you say, what is your commercialization? When can you sell it? It's like 10 years. So that needs a lot of communication.
That's quite interesting because most of the time, right, when I talk like a startup, we talk to the VCs. Most of the first question that we say we ask, do you have users? Do you have tractions? Who wants to be the first user for her vaccines? No way, right? So it's not about the users, it's about the maturities. And especially sometimes for the deep tech, we have to talk not about the users, but minimum performance or standard that we really need first. How far are you from this standard, and what do you have to do to reach this first? And you let's fund for that, and not say, okay, no user, I don't pay. So there's no one. If I used to say that if you want, you be the first user for her vaccine, right? That would be great. So I learned from you the first challenge is, I think especially in Thailand, many VCs don't learn that some deep tech we need some minimum performance, which you may never seen it before because we do some new thing for our lab and we still don't know what to measure, but we have minimum like security standard, health standard, or acceptance standard from the users. I think that part we have to work. And the second part is strategies, because to do so, sometimes you have to do a lot of things without revenues. And that part, investors have to understand the flow and accept that the revenue doesn't come, and there are some risks that in the research doesn't go the way that we think. So in that part, I think we have to come and help and think about that. Not only like, when do you have to come to the FDA, when the first user use, it's not about that. Okay. Apart from this, any challenge that you guys see from doing this?
I can share more,
Yeah.
a little bit more then. So it's actually my experience right now. When I talk to VC in Thailand or in the area, so let's say the number that I'm raising right now, so I'm a pre-Series A, and also I'm doing safe right now. So if we raise for like 4 million US dollars, VC in Thailand would say is so much. But then when I talk to the VC in US or in Europe, they say, why what are you gonna do with $4 million? You can do nothing. You burn it out in 1 year. It's impossible. Yeah, okay, 3 months for vaccine. Here's the thing that it makes me confused because I'm also new, right? Because this is the first time I'm raising money. But luckily, I have another partner of mine that already exited one company, but he is not in biotech as well, so he doesn't know like which one to really understand. So that's the challenge right
So
now.
that means if we would like to develop some deep technology in Thailand, we also need VCs who understand how to manage the deep technologies, expectation here and international levels and bring us outside. Because sometimes I think when we talk about a very deep tech or new, very advanced technologies, I think the demands in Thailand may be lacking. In Europe or in USA, the demands are more advanced, so they may need something advanced. And when we do something advanced, they said, no one needs it in Thailand. So if that's so, how could we develop the advancing in Thailand if we just only focus in Thai market? So VC has to come and see that there is a chances to do fight in global level and support the amount of funds to fight at the global level. That's from, I think, from what I heard from you. So, but one thing that we always have been told by universities and Ministry of Education and Research, higher education, that you need to do frontier research and you also have to do commercialization. How do you see about this idea that, oh my God, I have to get some fund, I have to sell my products, I also have to do the thing that really frontier. What do you think about this concept of designs?
I have so we just have one of ex-US FDA just joined our team, and he said one thing which is very interesting because he said that to say, just to summarize what we have achieved at Baiya is we founded 4 years. Okay, we raised 15 million US dollars. We got one GMP facility kick off, and we got 2 clinical trials kick off. That's a lot of things, right? And he was like, he's so impressed. But he said, it's like you're building a plane while you're flying it, So that's the same thing as your question when you ask about frontier research and commercialization. First of all, frontier research is, what is frontier research, let's talk about Moderna again, I think, because everyone is so familiar with mRNA. mRNA is a very, it's so frontier, right? 10 years ago. I mean, if you talk to people in the industry, they would be like, we're not sure, when mRNA would be there. Moderna, without COVID, we don't know when it will be commercialized, right? And it was so frontier. But, if you want frontier research, you cannot expect it to be commercialized within a year. It's like you can't get that 2 things, in the same pot. It's not doable. So, to answer your question is, from my point of view, we can expect frontier, right? But with doing commercialization, you're doing that testing, going back from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, back from phase 1. Phase 1, some companies are in phase 1 for so many years, right? Because they are making frontier, they're doing frontier, First we do this, okay, it's safe, but it's not effective. So maybe we add something, make it more effective. But people said, oh, why don't you get the one that's safe and it's effective? At first place, it's not it's easy. People ask me, why did you pick that dose? I was like, no, I don't know. I inject in monkeys, and it's just flip a coin. And basically, we're doing that because we don't know. We just need more data to validate and say, oh, we need to do another phase 1 and make it better, And that's how frontier research are, right? So I think the goal maybe it's people are like, oh, we want frontier, so we want frontier, right? maybe the goal, the objective is maybe not right? But I don't know what is the right one, but it depends on what we really want as a country.
Okay, so in this case, the frontier research supposed to be have to be well defined before you just say frontier research, right? Because when you say frontier research, I think from the research there are two parts of science you get. First, we call natural science. Are we doing frontier research to understand more of the natures, or we doing frontier research to create something to solve problem from our standing of that natures? There are two parts. To do the commercialization, you may need to understand them first, and then you create something from your understanding to deliver, right? So the part of frontier research, something we have to understand that what our goals to understand the nature, or do our understand the nature to create something to solve, which is maybe need another understanding from other texts to deliver this. I think that could be the part that we see the key from what you just say. Because you understand the molecule from the monkey, you cannot put in the right dose on the first day. If so, you are the magic man, right? Or you bullshit that, okay, this is the right dose. Come, I'm gonna give to you. Yeah, how about you? What about the frontier research? I think you also have to be, why Ajahn Am, why don't you do frontier research for our university? This is the
So
question.
the first answer came to my mind is that my parents told me that by seeing us doing both and everything in the university and what university expect us to do, they said that okay, maybe I had to put some new genetic into you to be a Wonder Woman or X-Men, because you need to be X-Men in order to do everything like we are expected to do. However, let's come back to the question. So actually that I can have a little bit of different opinion here. We can do it simultaneously as well. When we want to study what we have found in the lab and what we have produced in terms of application, and then it works. Once it works, we are trying to step back and understand how it actually works. It's actually from my case, I randomly modify polymer. I thought this ratio would work and this ratio would not work. Then I try like several ratios, like factorial design, and then 1 out of 5 works. Then I don't understand it really, and then the question comes from customer and VC that the VC that understand the area. They would ask me to explain what's going on, why it's working. Then I have to come back and do simulation, and try to understand in terms of the physics and biological activity and mechanism on how it works. So that becomes another basic science or fundamental science paper for to serve my promotion in the university. Then that's kind of like simultaneous process that can go together as well.
I think sometimes we may not need just dream and do whatsoever that is new if it doesn't serve what people need. Sometimes you do something that people need and you know that I think it works, but I don't understand it. So if you understand it, if you don't understand it, you cannot improve it. That's why we come back and we create another research problems that we can do the more research and more deeper to create something better later on. I think that part is also key that we will need to be aware that sometimes it's like you're playing the snake game. You go to one way, you climb the stair and you find the snake and you come down to the beginning again. That's the research would work. So the well design of this thing, and be aware that there are always snakes everywhere in this world is the thing that I think university or those kind of like funders, the governments or whoever we see in Thailand have to understand that it's not guarantees correct ways, especially from the research.
For my experience, I think because I'm from material science aspect, so for me, when I try to do the frontier research to publish an article, right, to make sure that I can have the good papers for university, I found that sometimes even though I discover something that is like is have very superior properties, but when I make the product, the customer say that it's too expensive. Okay, usually they didn't say that. They will just say, okay, it's good. Well, okay, it's biodegradable. It's can extend the shelf life of the fresh produce for a long time. But and then after that, they didn't buy it twice. They bought it first time, and then okay, no more. And then when I asked, so it's expensive, and well, your product can extend the shelf life of mango for 1 month, but we don't need that. We need only 1 week. So it's too good. So can you lower the price? So okay, now I know that appropriate technology should be better than the best one.
Okay. So in the lab, you may find something the best in the lab. Yeah. And so I actually also experience that. You can do the best thing for that customer, but sometimes they don't need that. They just need the one that right to them. The one that right to them maybe is the one that they affordable and create the right values. And especially as a one word in our B2B SaaS marketing and sales, we say that you have to make sure that you are the one that not nice to have, but they need to have. If we can create something that they need to have, that works. Because, and they say that we, like B2B sales, we don't sell product, we sell the profit. If they use us, they need to get the profit. And that's what we focus. So the value that we have to decide back from our standing to deliver to them would be different. But our technology is good, but we don't need to show them, because if we show them and they don't pay, that's nothing. Okay. So here we come nearly to the end. Okay. 3 of you are from Chulalongkorn University, but the one that we say that Chulalongkorn University has already changed. We have opened and 3 of them has become the founders of the startup. And then we change the way of licensing, but there are still some challenge in this country, especially Chula also have some, but I think in the overall ecosystem, other universities or even the governments understand of this. So the last question is, if you could give some suggestion to the people who do the policy or whatsoever, what would you say about this challenge about the research to commercialization in Thailand? Any suggestion or ideas
So
that you want to see?
So I work a lot on vaccines, okay?
Yeah.
And
to make you like, if they have done that, they make you go faster and better than this.
before COVID, we have been talking to several people about, like, we think that this pandemic is going to come up. Like, I'm not a, psychic. It's there's a history that every 100 years there would be a pandemic, and we have been talking to several people, like policymakers, like we should be doing this, because otherwise, if there's a pandemic, you won't have that security. And I think COVID-19 is like a wake-up call for everyone. I talked to people in Europe, and now Europe want to have to build their capacity in terms of, vaccine manufacturing, because they know now that if they can't do it, maybe in 10 years there would be another pandemic, and they would have to ask, some other countries that are making, right, waiting. And I want to say that, if you want to get vaccines, you cannot just say, I want vaccines, and you put like billions of dollars in it and you get it. Because even in the very mature ecosystem, like in the US, they put billions of dollars, but they still bet in so many platforms, right? So if you want to have that security, you need to start now. Like, you can't just wait and say, oh, maybe next year there would be a pandemic and maybe we'll put billions of dollars in, and you expect us to fly a plane with building it, and you say, why you don't have it now? Because it's a long-term process, and it's not just Baiya, it's a whole ecosystem, and it's not just COVID, but it's also other diseases. COVID, okay, it affects everyone's life, but there are so many diseases that people are still dying, that big pharma doesn't want to do, drugs on that, because the market are not big enough for them. But eventually it will be big. Asia Pacific is getting bigger. So my last takeaway is just do it now. It's not just for the health security. I think it's for, for the country security, for our economic stability, like we don't need to import drugs. We would be exporters. We can sell technologies, and I think life science and health tech is going to be the next wave, after all the digital and everything.
Okay, so in summary is that deep tech takes time.
Yeah.
If you want deep tech for your security, you need to make move right now, right? Not just say, but move seriously right now. If you think security, especially for the medical security or health security, is a priorities in Thailand. Okay, next.
For me, it would be a continuous answer from Ajahn Bip. Yeah, of course, we need to move right now, and like we actually need to move yesterday. We deal for like so many years, right? And also, plus, we need to communicate everyone in the ecosystem. We need to communicate, and we need to set their purpose the same. You know what I mean? Like everyone needs to focus. Like FDA needs to focus. The funder needs to focus. Government needs to focus. Everyone. They cannot just play politics day by day. They have to focus on our same goal. If we want vaccine, if we want new drug to happen in Thailand, then this is the goal, and everyone needs to work on it, like university professors as well, because we are one of the the one who read the dossier. In Thailand, the way we work for FDA is a little bit different from the big country like United States. The one that actually give opinion on the dossier, meaning the document that the drug company like Baiya submit to FDA, it will be passed on to expert like university professors. And if the university professor don't know where Thailand is going, they will just, no, this is not right. Okay, this need more study. Okay, this more 10 years. Okay, US never done this, we're not doing that. It cannot be like that. We need to be on the same page that we need to push it. If you have, comments, you give feedback immediately, and it needs to be valuable feedback. It cannot be the dead end feedback that okay, this is not going to be happening. So that's one of my very ambitious need, that we need to set purpose on every one of us.
So it seems like from our policies and our top management in science want to do everything, but you cannot do everything in the world. So one thing, maybe we need to set a clear and common goal of us and these strategies, and tell this is what we're going to do, this is what not to do, because you cannot spread money everywhere little, but because you won't get anything, because we don't have goal. It's agree with that.
So for me, I think so just add something more. I agree with them, and then for me, it's like another thing is that I think we need to change the mindset, of everyone in the community. We for me, it's like at my Department of Chemical Engineering, right now I teach the Deep Tech Entrepreneurship course for the Master and PhD student, because I think that at least I can be the small part to change their mindset about being an entrepreneur from the Deep Tech. So I think to make our community, our society, and to make Thailand be the have the health tech or the med tech, that is like we can have health security and also can export in the future. It's like we need to change their attitude, the children right now, and then also in the term of government and the minister. I think it's like we have to see and go to the same direction, that we cannot just buy it. We have to create it by ourselves, and then we have to understand it. If no one else in the world did it, do it before, it doesn't mean that it cannot happen.
Okay, so thank you for three of you. So in summary of this panel, I think these three answers are great. If you're going to be serious about deep tech or health tech in really deep, not only digital, we have to move now with a clear goal, common goal, and strategies and activities. And to do so, you need right mindset of people in nearly every part related. to do that. If not, everything wrong. Okay, thank you very much for this panel. Thank you very much, everyone.